Sometimes in sales, we just know that it's just not right for us to work with a particular type of prospect. My name is James White, and I've been sharing over the last few weeks some of my videos on how sales success is very similar to dating. And in this video, I'm going to share with you on how you can identify if it's the wrong fit with a prospect and what you can do to identify that so that you can move on and not waste huge amounts of time and money focusing on someone that's never going to be a good match for you. So the first thing about prospects and whether it's the right fit is to be honest with ourselves sometimes. When there's new business in front of us as salespeople, we want to work with everyone. It's a natural inclination to us to just think that every person we speak to is going to be perfect for us. But one of the first things that's really important to be able to identify is that sometimes there's just not a fit. The reality is if we've done the stages that we've needed to in point number 5, where we've asked the questions and really got to know that prospect and who they are and what their problems are, what their wants or desires are, we can then identify whether what they want matches what we do as a business. And invariably, if there's just not that fit, then sometimes it's easy to say that rather than to try and chase and pursue an opportunity that just doesn't going to be right for us in the long term. It may well be in our questions we've asked the prospect around how they value certain types of services. And maybe they've indicated that they just don't see a value in that. And yet we're a high premium service and charge a lot of money for that individual item. And therefore the prospect's never going to meet the value of what we think. Or maybe they've got a particular problem and actually our service solves a different problem. And that's not a right requirement for them. Sometimes there's just not a fit. And the good salespeople and the good business people will take a look and say, thanks very much for chatting to me, John. I've really enjoyed the conversation, but from what you've said, I just don't think we're the right fit for you at the moment. But what I do recommend is company X or Y. Sometimes you find that actually by doing that, people then have this fear of missing out and they want to work with you. But more importantly, if you really think that's the case, they're going to respect you and feel grateful that you've actually said that to them and you're not going to waste their time and your time. The second thing that I think is a key aspect to think about here is to use your gut. Our gut feel sometimes says to us when something's wrong. Maybe the person we're engaging with is just, I don't know, maybe a bit difficult, or we find them hard to build a relationship with, or maybe they've just expressed and been a bit rude to us or rude to a colleague or whatever it is. I mean, some people, Mike Michalowicz, who I've interviewed before, talked about 3 rules that he uses with people. One of those, he just doesn't work with dicks, as he calls it. So if someone's been really rude or ignorant or whatever, that may be well, but you just say, hey, my gut feel doesn't work. I've been there myself with someone recently who maybe decided that they thought something was different to what I thought, but it meant that their values were different, and I decided at the end of it, it's not how I want to be, it's not someone I want to work with. I didn't feel comfortable being able to say to them I could work with them because actually they have a different value system to me. Our guts are a good business sense for us. They tell us lots of things. We know when something feels right and when maybe we've got some concerns. So my question here is focus on what your gut says. If your gut says you're not concerned or you're okay, fine. But if you get some worries, some really, I'm not sure about this, sometimes listening to your gut is really, really important. The third thing, and I've talked about this in other videos before, is about qualifying your prospects effectively. And there's 2 different ways in which you can do that. The first way is through a model, and there are different models to do this, but BANT is a model that I've shared, and I'll put a link in the video to the BANT video I shared last year, which was really popular, around how you can identify if they've got the right budget, authority, need and timing to work with you at the moment. Sometimes prospects just aren't a fit at the moment. It may well be that they're doing some research to investigate something for next financial year, and therefore you need to be able to put in your diary to contact them in 6 to 8 months' time. It may well be that they're just not a fit for you in terms of the budget. They can't afford what you offer at the moment because the budgets have been set. Use BANT as a method to identify through the questions that you ask whether there's a fit for that prospect. And if there's not, it's okay to be able to say, from what you've said here, I'm not sure we're right to work together. Working with a prospect just because you want that business will end up costing you huge amounts of time and effort and energy. And in the end, it gives you more headaches than if you've got the headache of trying to hit your target in the first place. I know, I've been there and I've worked with companies at the end of it and thought, why did I get into business with them? It didn't feel right and it's cost me later down the line. And good salespeople identify if they're a right fit for someone because they know who they are a right fit for and who they're not. And if we've done the work that I've talked about in stages 1 to 4, we'll be in a position to know who's a right fit for us and to then work with them. The fourth thing that I also talk to my customers around is what I call a scoring matrix. And the scoring matrix, there's a version of this that you can get on my website. Go to www.jameswhite.business and you'll be able to find a scoring matrix that is basically made up of a number of questions that are key for you based upon your persona and target customer. So I encourage my clients to create maybe 8 to 10 questions around the type of customer that you want to prospect, you want to work with, who you're perfect for, the type of size of business, the characteristics, maybe where they're based, whatever the factors that make that or makes your perfect prospect. Write those down in a scoring matrix. And if I've then got those questions written down, and I've then been able to mark the prospect on a 1 or 0, at the end of it, what it will give me is a score for that prospect. And if that score, for example, is 0, if you've got maybe 10 questions here, and that prospect is a 0 to 3, it may well be that because they've only scored 1 or 2 out of that, they're just not right for you. And it's a natural thing to say, look, based upon the type of company I am and what I do, we're not a fit to work together. If, however, they've scored a 9 out of 10 and you know they're a hot prospect, then it gives you the information you need to then engage with them and do what you want to move forward. So the reality is in sales, chasing bad business is not good business. It doesn't make sense sometimes to work with someone that you know is just not going to be right for you and your company. So focus on identifying if there's a fit, listen to your gut feel, qualify effectively, and score based upon what you believe you're perfect for as a company. And if you do that, it's going to help you identify the prospects when you've met with them a couple of times and see if there's an opportunity to work together. And by being honest with them and being able to be focused and say, thanks very much, but from what we've said, I don't think we're right to work with you, you'll build respect and you'll also get them on your side and thinking of maybe you in the future. And you may even get them working with you because they're so desperate to work with you, which will enable you to maybe even put your price up or charge different rates or terms. The fact is, identify who's right. If you do that effectively, you can then be in a position to then do good, profitable business. And what we'll talk about in the next video is if you have identified that someone's a 9 or an 8 and is right for you, how do we then make the bridge to move them from where they are now to where they want to be so they can start to picture themselves working with you. I hope this video has been useful and has helped you identify who the right prospects are for your business. Got any questions around how you've identified this or how to qualify a prospect? Put them in the comments section or reach out to me on social media at James White Sales. I'd love to answer your questions and help you do the things that you need to identify the right fits of prospects for your business and get the results you want. Thanks for watching. I look forward to sharing more videos with you really soon.